So this I've just introduced you, Niall.
Okay.
This is Peter. So yeah, we're all ready. If you wanted to go ahead, Neil.
Okay. Hi, Peter. I was just wondering if you had a favourite Pembrokeshire memory.
Oh yeah, I've got lots of memories. More so when I was older, traveling around with my wife. I've got lots of memories. Not so much when I was a child. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
But for me, I went away to school when I was quite young because I was deaf. I had to go away to school. This book here is a little bit about the deaf school that I attended in Llandryd, North Wales. That's fine. Yeah, okay. So that book is all about my school for the deaf, and I went away to a deaf school at a young age. So lots of stories are in this book, which is very interesting, and I think my name is in this book somewhere. Okay. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. We just found a page. It's got a page in the book that's all about him. That's me there.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Does Peter have any interesting stories from school?
Oh yes, I do. Are you interested in my deaf school? What would you like to know about it? Because it was a deaf school specifically. There was no hearing people there. It was all signing, basically. So it was all deaf children. So if, for example, if I was with a hearing person as a child, I couldn't understand a thing. I couldn't communicate at all, and apparently I wasn't happy at all. So I went away to this school for the deaf, and my confidence just built so much because I could sign. I learned to sign. I could sign with other deaf children. If ever I go to the doctors, because of that school, it's taught me that to use interpreters like I am today. But I learned a lot from that school. But before school, I was with my mother most of the time, and they would try and communicate with me. They would try and talk to me, but they couldn't really communicate with me very well. So now I find it better that I communicate with deaf people, and I use sign language, and I use interpreters, and so on.
Did your parents struggle when you were diagnosed with being deaf?
Well, it's funny. Yes, they did struggle a lot. When I was young, before school, I didn't sign at all. I couldn't sign. And my mother and father were trying to make me look at them and trying to communicate with them, but it was very difficult. It was a lot of hard work for me to try and communicate. So when I went to school, I went away to that school, and I don't really remember a great deal about it. The first time I went, I think I went for about 6 months at first, and then I learned a little bit of sign and BSL, and then I came home and I hugged my mother and father, and they hugged me, and my mother looked at me, and I was signing to her. I was doing a sign that I needed the toilet. So I was doing this sign to her, and I meant in sign language toilet, and my mum didn't know. So I was going, oh, I need the toilet. And I was just showing all these signs. I was saying I was cold, I'm cold. And I was trying to sign with her. And did she understand? In the end, she understood, because Peter slowly taught his mum and dad a few signs.
Yeah.
My mother tried to give my sister the opportunity for education in sign language so that she could communicate with me as well. So when I came back home from school, the one time, I was so happy because I could communicate with my sister. She'd learned a little bit of finger spelling, and so then we could finally communicate and actually talk a little bit. So growing up, it was very difficult. I felt very isolated. You know, my sister could do a little bit, but she went off in the end to have her own life. But my mother and father definitely did struggle in communication, definitely. Yeah, but so let me just check that. So your mother had a few signs. No, but she nothing at all in the end. Oh, sorry, Mum didn't have any signs in the end. But I had to try and show them, you know. I said, please copy me, please try. And they found it very difficult at that point in their lives to learn it. So it was quite frustrating for me. It was quite difficult for me. So, but when my sister came back, I would always be able to communicate with her. But when she was gone, because she was a bit older, is your sister older? Yeah. Yes, yeah. So when, because she was older and she'd go off and do her own things, I'd be left on my own then. So it's very difficult. So growing up, you know, I left school at 16, yeah, 16, yeah. I didn't have any deaf friends. All the deaf friends I knew were so far away because we all travelled to that school. So it was very difficult to socialise, you know. So I went to work as a young boy, 16, and I was very nervous and I didn't want to go to work. I started my first, was that your first job? Yeah, with his, Peter's first job. Yeah, it was okay. I kind of got on with people, but it was very difficult to communicate. And there was another boy there that was not very nice, not very good at all, quite abrupt with me. And yeah, it was quite a difficult time, you know. And the one boy challenged me to a fight, I remember, at my first job. But anyway, I went up. Then the one boy that I actually got on with went away, and I was left with this one boy that was a bit of a bully, and he was always arguing and complaining. And I was there for 8 years in total. And I was so happy to get a new job after 8 years. I was really happy to work with different people. So that was quite a tricky time. In my second job, it was in Hayne Castle Estate. I don't know if you know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked there for 40 years, and then I retired. Yeah. I'm disappointed. I was disappointed when I retired because I got on with lots of people there and it was lovely. Yeah. Peter's wife is in the background saying, you're bored because you're with me. Now you're retired. Okay, yeah.
What did Peter do at Hayne Castle Estate?
I was a carpenter there. And painting, and sometimes I would help. What's that? Sorry. Hang on, let me just get this. Oh, labour, sorry. Labouring. So general labouring. Yeah. To be honest, I didn't like the labouring very much. I preferred the painting and the carpentry more. When I left work in Begelly, The first job was in Big Ellie, that's what he was referring to. That 8 years he spent there, he was so happy to leave. And then when he got this this job at Hayne Castle, he'd never done carpentry before, but a man there helped me and kind of trained me up and taught me everything I know, and it was wonderful. So I was really gutted when I finished.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Yeah, that's it. Thanks. Sorry to just.
Did the man that trained Peter know sign?
No, nothing at all. No sign whatsoever. I was the only one that was deaf there. So, the man's name was Jack, and he was an old man. What's the second name again? Sorry, Jack. Yeah, Edwards. Jack Edwards. He was a lovely man. Wonderful. From Liverpool. Was he from Liverpool? No, sorry, Bristol, and he moved to the area. And he was such a fantastic teacher. He taught me everything with carpentry, and he was quite strict, but he really got me to know the skill. And when he left, I carried on with all the others, and it was no problem at all. It was really good. I was very happy there, very happy. The first job, no, that was awful. That first 8 years of my life, I was glad to get rid of that. But the second job was just fantastic. We had a laugh. It was really good.
Oh, did Peter teach anybody sign at Hayne Castle in order to communicate with the other workers?
Yeah, one boy I did. He's still there now, actually. I taught him a little bit. Gary, he still works there now, and I taught him a little bit of sign, and we got on, and I taught him, and he learned it, and it was great. So I was an older man at the time, and a young boy came in, and it was really good. I kind of got on with him, and we first communicated through writing things down, and it was quite difficult to start with. And so I said to him, Gary, would you like to learn sign language? And he said, yes, please. So I brought in some information, some papers and documents showing him a few bits and pieces, like how to spell in sign language. And then ever since then, we communicated, you know, it was great. We had a laugh. He would finger spell most of the time. So mostly finger spelling. Yeah, he mostly used finger spelling, which is like the alphabet. And he might use a little bit of gesture. But he was really good, and we communicated really well. There was another gentleman, John, and he couldn't really finger spell. He couldn't really pick it up very well, but he used gesture more so, and that's how we communicated. It wasn't quite the same as sign language, but we communicate. So you managed to communicate. So that we managed to communicate really well. And Cathleen, his wife, was just saying that the boss there, the boss in Hayne Castle, never learned sign language. Yeah. So what Peter's just saying, there was one time when he worked and he gave the information to his boss to look at, to see if they wanted to learn the sign language. And Peter asked them, I would like you to try and learn a little bit. And they kind of looked at it, but didn't really bother with it. So I left it. I didn't push it too much, you know. Because some people don't want, some people are too busy, they can't quite pick it up, the finger spelling, so it is difficult. But I think that finger spelling is easy. I think learning the alphabet is simple enough, but some people don't want to, or for whatever reason, so I just leave them and just say, okay, fine.
Would Peter be able to talk about how him and his wife met, and are they both from Pembrokeshire, or is it just Peter?
Yeah. Do you want to come in the picture? This is Kathleen. Tell me if you can't hear me now. Kathleen is going to explain. Okay. So Kathleen is from Leith. From Leith area. Glamorgan. Leith Glamorgan. Yeah. That's what it was called in the olden days anyway. I met Peter in Porthcawl. It was a dance, and I met Peter, and we went to Deaf Club in Llanelli as well. And when I saw him there, he didn't look that bothered. He was actually more interested in the football than me. So I said, oh, fine, that's fair enough, whatever. Anyway, as time went on, Peter wrote me a letter because we didn't have phones at the time, obviously. So Peter wrote a letter asking if he could visit Kathleen's house. And I think just afterwards, my friends were asking me to go to a party, and I said, no, I'm not going to a party. And my friend said, why? Why aren't you going to the party? Okay, and so what happened was, let me just check this. So your friends were asking you to go to a party. No, because Peter. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just getting what she's saying. Yeah. Oh, Boxing Day. So basically, she waited and waited, and she made him wait. And finally, on Boxing Day, they went out and met. And then 11 months later, they were engaged. And then they were married after 3 years. It was a long time waiting because I wasn't very well at the time. And we've lived in this house ever since. 47 years next week.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Do they have a favourite spot in Pembrokeshire that they like to go?
Peter's just saying I like traveling around, looking at things. I prefer going abroad, to be honest. Do you want me to ask specifically in Pembrokeshire?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah. So specifically in Pembrokeshire area, is there anywhere you'd like to visit? St David's. They like St David's, definitely. Not fussed on Fishguard personally. It's quite a famous place, isn't it? But yeah, St David's is lovely. What's that? Sorry. Oh, Pembroke. Yeah, you don't like that? No, not first on Pembroke either. So they have visited different places. Yeah, but so St David's is your favourite. Yeah. St David's is the favourite. Another one. I do like South Pembrokeshire. Just trying to think of the name. Bosherston. And St Govan's. I really like that area. It's lovely, really beautiful. Lovely to walk in, really pretty area. What's that? Which was it? Was it pen? Yeah, Bosheston. It's got a beautiful. It's got a beautiful walk with a lake. Yeah, if you walk around that, it's a beautiful, really nice walk, and you can see the sea and walk back again. It's beautiful. St. Givens. Yeah. St. Givens Head. Oh, that's the name of the beach, isn't it? Yeah. No, I haven't. They're asking me if I've been there. No, I haven't been there. Niall, have you been there? St.
Yeah,
Givens?
I've been to St. Givens.
There's a house, isn't it? And they walk down.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. We walked down all the way down. Cathleen doesn't like it, walking all the way down, but Peter likes going. Yeah. He's saying, I absolutely love Pembrokeshire. It's where my heart is. And some deaf people ask me, why don't I move away? And I always say, no. Why don't you come? Why wouldn't you move away from your hometown? You know, I don't. People always ask me, why don't you move away from Pembrokeshire? But I've never wanted to. This is my home. This is where my heart is. I feel very strongly about Pembrokeshire. She's just explaining that lots of deaf people think Pembrokeshire is so quiet, but we say no, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's very busy, lots of things to do. It's just, Peter's just saying, I'm very happy here. I know I've been quite solitary at times, but you know, and people say, why don't you move somewhere busier? But I'm very, very happy here. This is my area, my home.
Oh, beautiful. What do they like to do for fun? Like, what do they like to get up to? I go. They both do bowling. Before, Peter loved football. What's that say again? Kilgetty football. So. Yeah, say that again. Narberth and Narberth Football Club. Did you? Oh, Peter played for both of them, Kilgetty and Narberth, but he had to give up because of communication, actually. So in the end, he gave up because it was too difficult. So I thought, what shall I do next? What sport shall I do? So I tried darts, but it wasn't, you know, I thought, oh, am I any good at that? So I gave it a go. You know, it was all right, you know, but I actually, in the end, I got better and better. I improved. And when I focused on it, I played lots of people with darts in the end. And I think it was 38 years. You played darts for 38 years. And then I gave up because in the end, my arm couldn't kind of cope with it because it's it. His elbow was too much trouble for his elbow in the end, and because he'd go to the pub every time and have a drink, you know, so he gave that up and he decided to try bowls, which is what he does to this day. But with obviously with Corona, they can't play bowls at the moment. It's all stopped. So Peter's just saying, I'm very disappointed because at the moment I'm just sitting down waiting, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for the bowls club to open again. Yeah, when I go to bowls, it means I go out, I see people, I have friends that I can kind of get on with. Whereas now, you know, I'm more happy out of the house, to be quite honest. There we are. Yeah. Have they ever been interested, because Peter played football, would they ever be interested in like a deaf sports club really in Pembrokeshire?
hang on, sorry.
Okay,
I'll have it now. I'll have it now. Sorry, let me just say that again. He's saying there isn't anything. There's no deaf football. No, there's very few at all, to be quite honest. There is one in Swansea, I think, but that's a bit far. Yeah. But I think it's mixed. I think it's hearing and deaf, but Peter doesn't want to drive that far. Yeah. So when Peter was, Kathleen's just saying, when Peter was growing up, he was quite sheltered because his mum would keep him in the house a little bit. So Cathleen said she lived in Neath. There's a huge deaf community because there was deaf people in Swansea, Neath, and the area. But poor Peter was living in Pembrokeshire, and there just wasn't many deaf people around. There wasn't a deaf community here. So deaf football. I think there should be some. What do you think there should be? Deaf football? Yeah, football. Yeah, he thinks there definitely should be. I don't know if there are any. I don't think so, but I definitely think there should be. Maybe in Narberth, perhaps. I'm not sure if there's a deaf person there. Yeah. He's just thinking, hang on. Yeah. He said in about 1967 or 68 they opened a deaf club. Where was that? In Narberth. Yeah. Very long time ago. Yeah. I think a woman. Yeah, a woman started the football club. A woman. No. Oh, a woman started the deaf club in Narberth. And so lots of people go there. I think he's more so talking about the deaf club now rather than the football club. Sorry, my mistake. So he's talking about how the only place he's got to go really is the deaf club in Narberth. So a long time ago, lots of people would go to the deaf club in Narberth, but now as a result of a lot of old people dying and the club has kind of reduced numbers and it's gone quite low now. But I would love it if more deaf people would come to our club. Yeah, it's in the Narberth rugby club. It's held, but there's not many people that go there anymore. Peter's just saying he would love more deaf people to come and join our club, and maybe then you could do more social things. But yeah, a lot of deaf people. Some people go to the club, some people don't, but it's up to them, isn't it? It's difficult. Lots of young people just haven't got the time to do these things. We understand. Yeah. So I would think it's reduced just down to quite a few older people now, and not so many young people. So there is a Swansea Deaf Club as well. And we've been there before, but it's a Saturday night and you have to drive there. We went there for a while, but that went down in numbers as well. So but now I've joined this bowling club. I'm quite happy, to be honest. Quite happy with the bowling club. Kathleen's just saying, let me just check. So yeah, so lots of people are part of the bowling club, but obviously the last year has been quite difficult. Before it was a huge group, the bowling group, but now it's reduced quite a lot because it tends to be older people. Yeah, so not many young people come at all. It tends to be older people. Yeah. There you go.
Would they like to see more younger people there?
In the bowling club?
And in the deaf club in Narberth as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would like it if people join, definitely. But in the bowling club, I'm the only deaf person there, so that is difficult. So, you know, there's no other deaf people there, so that's difficult. But I get on with everyone. It's fine. It's fine. It's no problem. When I finished a game, we all go upstairs, we have a drink, we have a chat. But of course, when I say we have a chat, I'm there standing twiddling my thumbs a little bit. You know, I kind of find it very difficult to communicate. So sometimes I leave a bit, you know, all the others, they can easily chat, whereas I can't, you know, be involved in that as much. So that's difficult. That's difficult. Because none of them can sign, as you can imagine, you know. I've given a few of them some sheets with like handouts with information on how to sign, very basic. And I said, oh, you know, have these, take a look at these. But then the next week they came back and they hadn't bothered. They hadn't kind of learned it at all or hadn't done anything with it. And I thought, I was trying to be friends, you know, I was trying to encourage them, but what can you do? What can you do? What can you do?
No. I suppose, do they have any advice for if there's young deaf people in Pembrokeshire? What would their advice be to them for like the future generations?
Okay.
I feel you're right.
They're saying they would like to, but they won't.
Yeah.
They would like to give advice, but they just won't do any of it. Yeah, a lot of deaf people have the. So let me just check this. The younger deaf people mix. So they're saying lots of the younger generation of deaf people, they mix a lot more with hearing people, whereas we never did, because a lot more people these days learn sign, so they can communicate a bit better. When I was young, there was hardly any deaf people about, and nobody learned sign. So, you know, it's very difficult for our generation, but I think the younger generation, it's very different for them. They have more access. They can communicate more with the hearing people. Hang on a minute. Oh. Yeah. So I know of a local. Is he a local person? There's a boy just up the road. He's a young man, and he's got Down syndrome. And does he sign now? No, he hasn't learned to sign. They thought he might, but he hasn't. So he learned a little bit in school, but not much. We tried to encourage him to use sign a bit more to help him, but he didn't in the end. So we left him alone. Yeah.
Do they have any children or grandchildren that live in Pembrokeshire?
No, they don't have any children. No.
They enjoy each other's company the most.
Yes, we do. He's a wind-up merchant, but yes, we do.
What does Peter do to wind her up?
Yeah, we're happy. We're very happy.
Good.
She said he's a wonderful husband.
And is she a wonderful wife, Peter?
See, he winds me up. He winds me up.
Oh. Well, I don't think I have any questions left, but it was wonderful speaking to you both, and thank you very much for doing this.
Will it be on Facebook, or do you want a copy of the book that Peter was showing? Would you like to see it?
Yeah, we can talk a bit more about that if you like.
Oh, she said, would you like a copy?
Oh, yes. If they have a link, that'd be great. Or I'd love to have a copy of that.
Okay. I might take some photos for you and make some documents for you later, and I'll email them to you, Niall.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, she's just saying she was reading the paper today and she saw the story, the Pembrokeshire story in the paper.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
That's yeah. She said she thought it was this, but she wasn't sure. Yeah. She said perhaps she can show it to more deaf people and see if they might be interested.
Awesome. Yeah. The more people we can get involved, the better, really.
She just said, what's it for? Why? What's it all about?
It's basically like.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's basically a community project where James Williams wanted to get all manner of life from Pembrokeshire together, really.
Maybe it's better just to get better awareness for the deaf.
Yeah.
So thank you. And she's just saying a fantastic interpreter, but it is important to get more deaf awareness and include people, definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
Sometimes with hearing people, with this sort of situation, sometimes people try to communicate themselves or write things down, but really an interpreter is very important to be she's saying fantastic interpreter. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I don't have any more questions left, but yeah, thank you for the definitely.
Thank you very much.
And then when it's all good to go, we'll send them some links. We hope to get them involved in other ways.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. What how will it so how will we know about the story, Pembrokeshire story? How will we?
It'll be in the newspapers, and I'm pretty sure James will email you some stuff, Suzanne.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Niall. Bye. Bye. Bye.